And it was done, when Jesus had ended all these words, he said to his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days Pasch shall be made, and man's son shall be taken to be crucified. Then the prince of priests and the elder men of the people were gathered into the hall of the prince of priests that was said Caiaphas, and made a council to hold Jesus with guile and slay him. But they said, Not in the holiday, lest peradventure noise were made in the people. And when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leprous, a woman that had a box of alabaster of precious ointment came to him and shed it out on the head of him resting. And the disciples, seeing, had disdain and said, Whereto is this loss? For it might be sold for much and be given to poor men. But Jesus knew and said to them, What be ye heavy to this woman? For she hath wrought in me a good work. For ye shall ever have poor men with you, but ye shall not always have me. For this woman sending this ointment into my body did to bury me. Truly I say to you, wherever this gospel shall be preached in all the world, it shall be said that she did this in mind of him. Then one of the 12, that was called Judas Iscariot, went forth to the princes of priests and said to them, What will ye give me, that I shall betake him to you? And they ordained to him 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. And in the first day of thirst loaves, the disciples came to Jesus and said, Where wilt thou we make ready to thee to eat Pasch? Jesus said, Go ye into the city to a man, and say to him, The master saith, My time is nigh. At thee I make Pasch with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus commanded to them, and they made the Pasch ready. And when the eventide was come, he sat to meat with his 12 disciples. And he said to them, As they ate, Truly I say to you, that one of you shall betray me. And they full sorry began each by himself to say, Lord, whether I am he? And he answered and said, He that putteth with me his hand in the platter shall betray me. For sooth man's son goeth, as it is written of him. But woe to that man, by whom man's son shall be betrayed. It were good to him, if that man had not been born. But Judas that betrayed him answered, saying, Master, whether I am he? Jesus said to him, Thou hast said. And while they supped, Jesus took bread, and blessed, and brake, and gave to his disciples, and said, Take ye and eat, this is my body. And he took the cup, and did thankings, and gave to them, and said, Drink ye all thereof, this is my blood of the New Testament, which shall be shed for many into remission of sins. And I say to you, I shall not drink from this time of this fruit of the vine, into that day when I shall drink it new with you in the kingdom of my Father. And when the hymn was said, they went out into the Mount of Olives, and Jesus said to them, All ye shall suffer cause of stumbling in me in this night, for it is written, I shall smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered. But after that I shall rise again. I shall go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said to him, Though all men shall be caused to stumble in thee, I shall never be caused to stumble. Jesus said to him, Truly I say to thee, for in this night, before the cock crow thrice, thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said to him, Yea, though it behooveth that I die with thee, I shall not deny thee. Also the disciples said. Then Jesus came with them into a town that is said Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, Sit ye here, while I go thither and pray. And when he had taken Peter and 2 sons of Zebedee, he began to be heavy and sorry. Then he said to them, My soul is sorrowful to death. Abide ye here, and wake ye with me. And he went forth a little, and fell down on his face, praying and saying, My Father, if it is possible, pass this cup from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he came to his disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, So whether ye might not 1 hour wake with me, wake ye and pray ye, that ye enter not into temptation. for the spirit is ready, but the flesh is sick. Again the second time he went and prayed, saying, My Father, if this cup may not pass, but I drink it, thy will be done. And again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went again and prayed the third time and said the same word. And he came to his disciples and said to them, Sleep ye now and rest ye. Lo, the hour hath nighed, and man's son shall be betaken into the hand of sinners. Rise ye, go we. Lo, he that shall take me is nigh. Yet while he spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great company, with swords and bats, sent from the princes of priests, and from the elder men of the people. And he that betrayed him gave to them a token, and said, Whomever I shall kiss, he it is, hold ye him. And anon he came to Jesus and said, Hail, Master. Hail, Master. And he kissed him. And Jesus said to him, Friend, whereto art thou come? Then they came nigh, and laid hands on Jesus, and held him. And lo, one of them that were with Jesus stretched out his hand, and drew out his sword, and he smote the servant of the prince of priests, and cut off his ear. Then Jesus said to him, Turn thy sword into his place, for all that take sword shall perish by sword. Whether guessest thou that I may not pray my Father, and he shall give to me more than 12 legions of angels? How then shall the scriptures be fulfilled? For so it behooveth to be done. In that hour Jesus said to the people, As to a thief, ye have gone out with swords and bats to take me. Day by day I sat among you, and taught in the temple, and ye held me not. But all this thing was done, that the scriptures of prophets should be fulfilled. And all the disciples fled and left him. And they held Jesus and led him to Caiaphas, the prince of priests, where the scribes and the Pharisees and the elder men of the people were come together. But Peter pursued him afar into the hall of the prince of priests, and he went in and sat with the servants to see the end. And the prince of priests and all the council sought false witnessing against Jesus, that they should take him to death. And they found not, when many false witnesses were come. But at the last 2 false witnesses came, and said, This said, I may destroy the temple of God, and after the 3rd day build it again. And the prince of priests rose and said to him, Answerest thou nothing to those things that these witness against thee? But Jesus was still. And the prince of priests said to him, I conjure thee by the living God, that thou say to us, if thou art Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said to him, Thou hast said, Nevertheless I say to you, hereafter ye shall see man's son sitting at the right half of the virtue of God, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the prince of priests rent his clothes, and said, He hath blasphemed. What yet have we need to witnesses? Lo, now ye have heard blasphemy. What seemeth to you? And they answered and said, He is guilty of death. And they spat in his face and smote him with buffets, and others gave strokes with the palm of their hands in his face, and said, Thou Christ, declare to us, who is he that smote thee? And Peter sat without in the hall, and a damsel came to him and said, Thou wert with Jesus of Galilee. And he denied before all, and said, I know not what thou sayest. And when he went out at the gate, another damsel saw him, and said to them that were there, And this was with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, For I knew not the man. And a little after, they that stood came, and said to Peter, Truly, and thou art one of them, for thy speech maketh thee known. Then he began to curse and to swear, that he knew not the man. And anon the cock crew. And Peter bethought on the word of Jesus, that he had said, Before the cock crow, thrice thou shalt deny me. And he went out and wept bitterly.